Okay. Right, good morning everybody. Can I welcome all members and officers to this meeting of Licensing Subcommittee A, which has been convened as a remote meeting. The meeting is being recorded and will be available via the Council's website to be viewed as soon as possible after the meeting. The agenda pack can also be viewed on the Council's website. Everyone participating in this meeting will be doing so from remote locations. I'll ask members to keep their cameras on for the duration of the meeting. However, all attendees should keep their microphones switched off until I invite them to speak. Members and officers can indicate they want to speak by pressing the hands up icon. I will now proceed to agenda business. I'm so sorry, I've got a terrible cold. Can I just ask the members to introduce themselves, please? I'm Councillor Maxine Lewis and I'm the chair of the Licensing Committee.
I'm Councillor Tony Barrow.
Councillor Llewellyn Hopkins.
Okay.
You want me to as well, Chair?
No, thank you. Right, so the agenda business is apologies for absence. No. Declarations of interest. No. Item 3 is the variation of a premises licence for Brynmenyn Stores, 4 Abergarrow Road, Brynmenyn, Bridgend. Can I now ask Kirsty to present the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Kirsty Evans, Licensing Team Manager. I'll just take you through the report. So the purpose of this report is to determine a variation application for the Brynmenyn Stores licence. There's just a slight error in the report, which I'll just point out. It's 1.1. It says it's an application for the grant, but it is a variation application. So the licensing authority received the variation application, which is detailed in Appendix A of your report. The premises currently benefits from the licensable activities detailed in paragraph 2.2 of the report. So they currently have the sale of alcohol for consumption off the premises, Monday to Sunday, 8 AM till 8 PM. The copy of the current license is in Appendix B of your report. So the variation application is to extend the sale of alcohol hours Monday to Sunday from 7 AM to 11 PM. However, following a consultation period, the statutory consultation period, a few representations were received. The applicant has agreed to amend the proposed variation to 7 AM to 10 PM. And as a result of this, one of the representations that was received during the consultation period from a local resident was withdrawn. So written confirmation of the amendment from the applicant is in Appendix D of your report. During the statutory consultation period, other representations were received from South Wales Police. However, following discussions with the applicant, the police agreed to withdraw their representation as a result of conditions that were agreed with the applicant, which are to be imposed on the premises licence should the variation be granted. The proposed police conditions are detailed in Appendix C, along with the applicant's agreement. So the other representations that were received and weren't withdrawn during the consultation period can be found in Appendix E, and these are from 2 objectors, 1 local resident and 1 local councillor. So there are no further updates. As representations were received and not withdrawn, the subcommittee is asked to determine the application, having regard to the council's statement of licensing policy, the guidance issued by the Home Office, and the application submissions and any representations made. Thank you, Chair. That's it from me.
Thank you very much. Sorry, can I ask somebody to take over? I'm feeling really unwell. I'll stay in the meeting.
Okay. Yeah,
the other members will need to elect a new chair then.
Can I propose Councillor Barrow, please?
Is that all right, Tony?
Yes, Chair, yes.
Are you seconding that, Chair?
I am seconding it, yeah.
Okay. To members of the committee, Councillor Barrow will take over as chair. Councillor Thomas, you had your hand up? Did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, just a brief question, if I may. Kirsty, thanks for that. The report, obviously, as an invite,
Sorry, I thought you were asking a question about the change of the chair.
No, not about the change of the chair.
No. Okay. We'll come to you.
Right.
When it's your time to speak. Okay. So, Councillor Barrow, Kirsty's presented a report. And now it's the applicant's turn to present their application.
Would the applicant like to say a few words?
Mr. Barrow, thank you very much. Newly appointed chair, thank you. One point, and Kirsty, you might be able to help me here. I understand, obviously, with Mr. Thomas being present, his representation will still stand, I imagine. But my instructions don't specify which of David Price and Philip Sage has been withdrawn and which remains, or is it that they both remain? Sorry.
It's David Price.
David Price remains. Philip Sage is withdrawn. Thank you very much. As you've heard, the initial application, which has received 2 representations, none from any responsible authorities, but one from the councillor present here today and one from Mr. Price, who isn't present, have been submitted. The applicant has already amended the initial application to remove an hour from the end period, 7 to 10 p.m, which I hope goes some way to assuring those present that he is engaging and he is willing to compromise. A further compromise would be on Sunday he would be willing to open at 8 a.m. rather than 7 a.m. And further limit those licensable activity hours accordingly. In reality, I appreciate, I've never been to the area, but I appreciate there are some concerns, and there is an institution, a vulnerable housing project or property, but our client would not be engaging his staff, and he are trained. They know not to sell to anybody who is actively displaying signs of being under the influence of drugs and or are already drunk. And we would contend that his licensable hours will not add to any antisocial behaviour. They will certainly not lead to any further drug use. He's not selling drugs, obviously he's selling alcohol. I say that very confidently. He tells me he's not, I assume he's not. And he is not failing to comply with and promote the licensing objective of the Prevention of Crime and Disorder or Public Nuisance. And the extension of his licensable hours will merely allow him to be a better commercial entity and hopefully serve the people in the area better than he is already doing. I don't think I need to take up more of your time going into it. I understand Councillor Thomas might have some comments. Hopefully we can discuss those. But I hope with the amended hours, this is an even more palatable application, and we can engage in any back and forth needed. But for now, from us, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Chair, is there any, before you move on to the objections, is there any questions you need to ask of the applicant? Does the panel need to ask any questions?
I have got no questions. I don't know about the rest.
Okay.
No.
So, Councillor Thomas.
We got one.
Oh, sorry.
Councillor
Councillor
Thomas. So you've stated that you wouldn't sell alcohol to anybody who outwardly looked drunk. Some people who are drunk don't present in the same way. What are you going to do to ensure that you stick to that, please?
Thank you, Councillor Hopkins. It's a very tricky one for any licensable premises, a pub, a club, an off licence. what we tend to do, along with a licensing training practitioner, personal license courses, who are one of the biggest in the UK, down in London, staff training includes, if anybody is showing any signs, whether that be slurred speech, hesitation, if they are struggling to give a back and forth at the point of sale, that would be an issue that the staff might raise. They'd put it in the incident report book, they might choose to refuse. Okay, it is nigh on impossible to determine, as you say, some people are very good drinkers. Some people might be able to have 10 pints, walk in and buy a bottle of wine to go home with for dinner. Others might not be able to walk after that 10 pints. It is very, very difficult. And although this might sound like a little bit of a cop-out, it has to be on the judgment of the license holder and his staff. And if that judgment is incorrect, that can happen to anybody at any time. Unless there is a condition imposed across the UK that breathalyzers need to be put in at point of sale, at which point I'm afraid we'll all be a bit sad every now and then. There's no way to accurately determine the state of somebody other than what is presented in front of the person who is enacting that sale. And I appreciate that that is imperfect, but the license holder and his staff understand the importance of doing everything they can to determine the conduct and the status of the person attempting to purchase alcohol from them.
Thank you. I don't know if Mr. Singh would like to say anything.
Yes, yeah. Hello, yeah. Yeah, I look after, yeah, all if you any drunk people, so I careful about I give later on drunk, and morning times where if you any I training to staff as well, yeah, and underage note sale, and I keep all documents, the VAT one and safety one as well. So I can look after all make sure the underage and drunk people. Yes,
Right. Thank you, Mr. Singh.
yeah, thank you.
Chair, this is Councillor Thomas to ask any questions of the applicant before he presents any objections that he's got.
I wouldn't mind saying a few words. Just to be clear, under the what Mr. Singh has now agreed, the changes in the variation of the licence, under that proposal, I'd be happy to withdraw my objection. However, the reason why I decided to come here today was just to, I thought it was still important just for due diligence, really. Mr. Stelling has already outlined some of the local sensitivities. Just to be clear, there is a homeless shelter nearby, and since the establishment of the homeless shelter, there has been a significant increase in antisocial behaviour, drug and alcohol misuse. However, I have met with Mr. Singh, and there is absolutely no doubt in my mind whatsoever that Mr. Singh is a very responsible businessman. He's very mindful of the local sensitivities, and I have no doubt that he will be responsible with this change in licence. But given the severity of the antisocial behaviour, however, it's my view that the licence should be granted. But having had a conversation with the licensing manager, Kirsty Evans, it's my understanding that anyone can ask for a review of the licence if there is a significant increase in antisocial behaviour and problems, and that's what I intend to do on an evidence-based process by liaising with the police and other stakeholders. So really, in my view, I would be happy to rescind my objection and recommend, in my view, that the committee should allow this. However, I do have one or two questions. Firstly, Mr. Singh, I'm just wondering about the 7 a.m. opening time. Is that really just to coordinate with your opening times, really, or because that does sound a little early? And my second question was really to you, Kirsty, is you outlined in your introductory remarks that South Wales Police supported this licence pending some recommendations. Unfortunately, as a guest to this committee, I've been unable to see those recommendations. I'd just be really grateful if you could briefly outline some of those recommendations, please. And really, on that basis, I'd just like to say I rescind my objection and recommend that it does go ahead, but I will be monitoring the situation in the future to make sure there's no adverse outcomes to the local community. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kirsty. Before you answer the question, can I just come in there on one point? Councillor Thomas, you'd only be able to review the licence if the antisocial behaviour was connected to the shop, not just an increase in antisocial behaviour. It would be if it was directly connected to the sale of alcohol from the shop.
Yes, thanks for that. I understand that. And really, just might I add as well, really, there's a local pub nearby, and he is another responsible businessman like Mr. Singh. And there's no evidence to suggest that any alcohol misuse is connected to the pub. So in that vein, I think Mr. Singh's proposals are safe and to go forward. But you know, just for due diligence, I will be keeping a close eye on things. And if there is any, as you've just remarked, Andrea, if there is anything that can be evidence in connection of the sale of alcohol from the shop, I don't think there will be. I will be reviewing it, but I'm pretty positive.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Andrea, could you send Councillor Thomas all the police stuff?
I think he wants Kirsty to say in the meeting what the agreement that the police have reached, so he knows before he formally, I assume, before you formally withdraw your objections.
Yeah, so the agreed police conditions to be imposed include CCTV to be at the premises. So they've the applicant and the police have agreed a detailed CCTV condition. The Challenge 25 scheme to be implemented, signage to that effect, staff training as well. So it's training involved in the Challenge 25 scheme and the production of suitable ID and records to be kept of that training. And those are the agreed conditions.
And then, Chair, I think there was one question to the applicant about the 7 a.m.
Yes, the 7 a.m. Yeah.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm not. Mr. Thomas, I've spoken to Mr. Sidhu about this when I took instructions, and you're right. It is just to collate the opening times with the premises being open for everything that they do. I have lots of other clients who have staggered licensable activity times. If a member of staff gets it wrong, opens up, it has alcohol on display, they're in breach of the license. The last thing he wants to do is that. So this just brings everything into the same opening and closing times, and when they're open, they're open.
Thank you.
Chair, can I just confirm now with Councillor Thomas, on that basis, are your objections withdrawn?
Yeah, on that basis, my objections are withdrawn, and I wish Mr. Singh the very best of luck. And however, I will be obviously monitoring it for the good of the community, as we've already outlined.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas.
Andrea, can I just come in here?
Yes.
I have heard from the other objector was happy that Councillor Thomas would represent him at the hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, Chair, that objection, obviously, is that objection, Councillor Thomas, withdrawn on behalf of Mr. Price, or is it just your objection?
I guess so. It's a little difficult for me to say, to be honest. I don't speak on behalf of Mr. Price. We had an informal conversation where he did say, and I quote, "I'm happy to go with whatever you think, Councillor." So I don't know. I can't answer that, to be honest.
Okay, we'll take his objections as not withdrawn then. He's not present to give his representation, so we can only take the members of the panel can only take what's he's written in, so that will be taken into consideration when any decision is made. I don't know if the applicant solicitor wants to make any representation on that objection from Mr. Price.
None other than, as previously stated, the licence holder, understands the concerns, will be doing everything he can to ensure that he doesn't contribute and actively assists in ensuring there isn't antisocial behaviour. But hopefully, were Mr Price to be here, our concessions on time and our explanations, as we've put to Mr Thomas, would be sufficient to him. We can only guess, but I'd like to think that that would be the case.
Thank you. Right then. Anybody else like to say anything before we go into closed session? No? I think we go into closed session.
Okay, Chair, so if I could just inform the applicant, you get your decision within the statutory period as set down, obviously, in the legislation. You get it in with the time periods.
Thank you.
Thank you all for attending.
Take care.
Thank you, Chair.
you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Singh, you can leave the meeting now.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh.
Thank you.
There we
Okay.
are.
Can you stop the recording, Nimi, please?